Good morning, everyone. This is Group 5, presenting a PESEL analysis about political globalization amidst the pandemic here in the Philippines. Today, we're going to discuss 7 different topics that talks about political globalization. Number 1 is the government policies, the national, state, or even provincial, local, and other localities. Number 2, the government resource allocations. Number 3, stakeholder needs or demands. Number 4, lobbying, campaigning by interest groups, local, national, international, influences and pressures from international actors. Number 5, armed conflicts. Number 6, the changes in power, influence, connectedness of key relevant actors or even groups. And last but not the least for today's topic about political globalization is the expected direction of future political change, the future policy prospects of political globalization amidst the pandemic here in the Philippines. And here are my groupmates discussing the 7 different topics for today about political globalization.
Government policies. The first case of coronavirus in the Philippines was confirmed on January 30, 2020 in a 38-year-old woman who arrived from Wuhan. After 2 days, the Philippines recorded the first death. The government of the Philippines then declared a health emergency on March 9, taking after a spike in new affirmed cases and nearby transmission. They also announced that the country will be placed under a state of calamity for 6 months, and a lockdown was implemented in the whole Luzon Island. The government is taking a few steps to control the spread of the infection. A travel restriction was imposed to and from China, Hong Kong, and Macau to limit the spread. The Philippines seen a surge in requests for face masks. The Philippine International Trading Corporation meanwhile recognized 2 face mask providers from India and Thailand to meet the request. The providers are anticipated to require more than 30 days to supply the masks.
Government resource allocation. 27.1 billion of Philippine peso was spent during this pandemic. According to Finance Secretary Dominguez, this is to guarantee the effort of Department of Health to contain the spread of coronavirus disease 2019 and to give relief to those who are affected by the virus. This includes the PPEs and test kits that are bought in other countries.
Needs or demand. The community quarantines and lockdowns means a stoppage of the flow of subsistence income to millions of Filipinos. The first one is the suspension of public transportation services. In an advisory issued by the Department of Transportation, or DOTR, before the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine, all public land transport modes, including passenger buses, jeepneys, taxis, transport network vehicle services or TNVS, FX, UV Express, as well as motorcycle, are suspended during the period. The crisis also threatens the availability of essential supply. Due to the enhanced quarantine protocols all over the country, the flow of food supplies and deliveries were necessarily delayed. The food prices are rising. The faster price increases in most food items had been blamed by the government on supply chain disruption amidst the enhanced community quarantine.
Influences and pressure. According to the Vera 2020, the administration of Duterte will leave a debt in an accumulated amount of 13.7 trillion pesos when they step down in 2022. This will give a lot of pressure to the next set of government officials and its people. The supposedly allotted amount of funds that will be given to different aspects that time will be divided for paying the debt. Thus, it will hinder and prolong our development. This is the influence and result of this global pandemic.
An armed conflict is a contested incompatibility that concerns government and or territory with the use of armed force between 2 parties, of which at least one is the government of a state. Brigadier General Francisco Ariel Felicidario III discussed the ceasefire mechanisms between the government of the Philippines and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. Therefore, there is no armed conflict in the Philippines during this pandemic.
Due to the pandemic, higher rate of people who experience anxiety and depression has been recorded. Now, to address the problem, variety of approaches from the different sectors in the country as well as solutions from national and international organizations have been made. Political actors here in the Philippines, with the help of their influence, had also helped in disseminating awareness for the said issue. So, Department of Health together with the World Health Organization raises the awareness on how important the public mental health is during this pandemic. The DOH has also launched a multi-sectoral approach for mental health with programs and interventions across a variety of settings like workplaces, schools, and communities.
And for the last topic about political globalization here in our country amidst the pandemic or the expected direction of political change. Malacanang dismissed the idea of postponing the 2022 polls because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Later than that, COMELEC then said that if pandemic lasts until 2022, they are only looking into a longer voting period. There is no expected change in terms of election basis here in our country. And finally, here we are. The next slide discusses the citations and references of the given contents. Once again, this is Christian John Sabala in behalf of Group 5. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.